performance of NDA. Satisfied. As of August 2025, it is 52% are satisfied. That again comes down compared to 62% in February 2025, and in January 2023, when Mr. Modi's personal popularity had peaked, it was 67%. So if I look at it compared to February, which is how we track a poll, it is actually down 10%. Satisfaction rating with NDA is down 10%. On the other hand, those who are dissatisfied remain the same, 27%. So there's a solid block of those dissatisfied. There is, of course, a large number who are saying don't know or can't say. But this is the first real worrying point for the NDA, when 10% decline takes place over 6 months in terms of satisfaction. We then asked NDA government's biggest achievement. 17% still said Ram Temple, January 2024. Operation Sindoor, 12%. So unlike a Balakot, where there was a huge jump in support for the government, not so much this time. Maybe Trump's announcements of ceasefire have something to do with it. Development, Maria mentioned, governance is 10%. Biggest failure, unemployment 27%. And remember, this is where the tariff factor could kick in also over the next 4 months. It's a warning sign. Price rise 21%. And we've seen this consistently over our Mood of the Nation. These two issues remain troubling. Economic growth 7%. So when you look at these numbers clearly, Prime Minister's performance rated much higher than that of his government, and there's a sharp dip in satisfaction levels with the government. Sanju Verma is joining us. Sanjay Jha is still with us, as is Amitabh Tiwari. Let me get first reactions from you, Sanju Verma. As we showed earlier, if there were elections held today, NDA is comfortably ahead. Prime Minister's ratings remain relatively high. Satisfaction with NDA government is showing a 10% decline, which is one of the sharpest that we have seen in our MOTN polls over the last 3 years. Your first comments, ma'am.
My first comment is this, Rajdeep, that yes, while Prime Minister Narendra Modi's rating or popularity may have dipped from 72% in 2023 to 58% in 2025, and those who are satisfied with Prime Minister Modi / the BJP, that may have fallen from 67% in 2023 to 52% in 2025, as your poll suggests. One thing which cannot be disputed is this, that for a man to have been at the helm of affairs for 10 years in a row, is into his third term, is the only Prime Minister in the last 62 years to be elected for the third time in a row, and to still have a popularity rating of 58%. I say that is a black swan event. Show me one democratically elected leader who, after having been in power for more than 11 years as Prime Minister, and prior to that serving 3 terms as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, having been in office for more than 20 or 22 odd years, still has a popularity rating of 58%. I challenge you, Rajdeep, to name just 3 such democratically elected leaders. Don't name fascist dictators.
I won't take up the challenge. I'll ask Sanjay Jha to take up the challenge. Sanjay Jha, Sanju Verma is challenging you to name any other leader who has, after 11 years in power, still had a relatively decent popularity rating, even though she won't answer why is the satisfaction level with the NDA declining. But go ahead.
Yeah, on a lighter vein, Rajdeep, the answer to that is very straightforward. You have Mr. Vladimir Putin. Why you forget him? He's democratically elected and his popularity ratings are through the roof. Anyway, let's get on to the more serious aspect of this wonderful conversation on your program. If the Ram Temple and Operation Sindoor happen to be the 2 benchmarks on which this government gets maximum accolades, that itself, Rajdeep, is an exhibition or a manifestation of the fact that this government has survived over the last 10 years. It's won elections, I concede that point, on hyper-nationalism or ultra-nationalism and hardcore Hindutva. And as the results showed you in Uttar Pradesh, even these are probably now going to give lower political dividends. It happened in Faizabad. We saw what happened. And from the survey that you have showed so far, I think Operation Sindoor has probably hurt his national security image much more than if he was expecting to augment it. My second point is...
We have separate numbers on that. But I
Yeah.
take your, no, 1 minute, ma'am. Sanju, I'll let you respond
Yeah.
in a moment. But Amitabh, let Amitabh Tiwari give us his first reactions also to these numbers. It's a strange anomaly, Amitabh. It appears that the government's numbers in terms of satisfaction level are showing a decline. There is also a decline from the peak popularity of the Prime Minister. But as we saw in the previous hour, this government's electability still remains relatively high.
So this government's electability remains fairly high. It's largely because of Prime Minister's popularity rating is still high. 58% still is very high. And this is largely because of his ability to reinvent himself. Each year you have a new tagline, a new theme, a new scheme for a different set of cohort. That is one thing. Second thing, and we get back to what we were discussing earlier, the popularity rating of the NDA has fallen by 10 percentage point, but this has not moved to the unsatisfied level. This is largely moving to the can't say or don't know or other options. Correct. So you win elections or win narratives when people swing from one alliance to the other. There is a 10% decline in NDA's performance rating, but these set of voters do not see the confidence in the opposition to lure them or woo them to their side. And that is what is the missing
But
link in.
Amitabh ji, for a moment, if you reflect, because that really shows the popularity, Rajdeep, of the Prime Minister here, if you reflect for a moment, February, if we hark back to our last Mood of the Nation survey, both the Prime Minister and the NDA performance was judged at an even keel, 62%, 62%. The drop for the Prime Minister has only been 4%, but the drop for the NDA has been a solid 10%. So clearly, somewhere down the line, you have the Prime Minister who's taking and still the poster boy of what the NDA alliance is.
Yeah, but it is not resulting in benefit for the opposition, and that perhaps reflects the trust deficit that the opposition still has to battle with, which will come to it. But before I come to you, Yashwant, Sanju Verma putting her finger up is a very dangerous thing, because if I don't sort of get her in, she will then go on Twitter and say Rajdeep was unfair to us. So quickly respond, ma'am. We have lots of guests, 30 seconds. Go ahead.
I'll take 45 seconds if you indulge me. And whatever my finger might, whatever my finger might denote, that apart, let me come to the moot point. I think Maria raised a very important issue. Governance related narrative should be predominant. But I will tell one thing, disagreeing with her slightly. What are the top 10 achievements of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which no one seems to be dwelling on? The fact of the matter is, Vikas bhi, Astha bhi. 12 crore toilets under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. 10 crore, gas cylinders given freely under Ujjwala scheme. You have 47 crore Ayushman Bharat cards given to people. You have 25 crore soil health cards given to farmers. You have something called 40,000 kilometers of railway electrification, which is done. You have abrogation of Article 370, which was discriminatory. You have the Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir, which has come to fruition after being a civilizational battle, which was unresolved for 500 long years. And most importantly, very quickly, in 10 seconds, the world's 4th largest economy, the world's 8th largest tourist economy, the world's 4th largest foreign exchange reserves, the world's 7th largest gold reserves, the world's 2nd largest steel producer.
I just want to stop you for a moment. Ma'am, I have to go. By the. Ma'am, I take your. Ma'am, just a minute. I take your point, but that's not what our poll is showing. And Yashwant, you need to respond to that, because here is Sanju Verma throwing the facts at us, both in terms of welfare benefits, which the Prime Minister and his government have made a big part of certainly their political outreach, the Labharti constituency. Yet, when I look at the numbers, the fact is that on economy, the NDA's government biggest failure, unemployment, price rise, which between them come to 48%. And it's not in your development, only comes at 10%. So Prime Minister and his government associated with Ram Temple and Operation Sindhu, not with any of the issues that Sanju Verma is pointing out. In fact, on economy, the government doesn't get the kind of high rating that Sanju was hoping. I don't think the average person cares whether we are 4th or 5th largest economy when I'm living a life on the margins and my consumable income is not growing.
Rajdeep, I'm not an economist, but what I can tell you for sure that in our routine trackers for the last many years, the general sentiment of the people on the ground is that economy is under stress. Huge stress.
It's under stress.
Absolutely under stress. People say, big number of people are saying that running the kitchen is getting more and more difficult. And this after when we are running world's largest free food program. So let's keep that aside. One important point which Amitabh mentioned, I would just come back to that, is that when you look at the 10-point drop of NDA numbers, the numbers are not swinging to the other side. And Preeti, you remember in our PSC, right during the Sindoor and after the the ceasefire happened, we did report that huge number of Modi and BJP supporters were upset and angry with the way ceasefire was carried out. Now, when you look at that number, this is directly in continuation with that. I see a connect between the two. There is an anger the way the ceasefire happened, right? That is why the satisfaction is going down. But they remain a loyal Modi supporter. That is why Modi's personal number do not drop.
Still up.
No, but
Yeah.
is the satisfaction going down?
shifting.
No, sir, but is the satisfaction, Yashwant, going down because of Sindoor or because of the economic stress that you spoke about? Is there a sense that people are stressed out at the bottom? So while you may spin this narrative that, you know, all is well, the truth of the matter is all is not well as per this survey.
Our survey numbers on economy were equally stressed even when Mr. Modi was at 72%. That's a very important point for you to understand. If Operation Sindoor would not have been, in narrative perspective, would not have been knocked down by Donald Trump's tweet and abrupt ceasefire, then I would have been, as a poster, expecting Balakot kind of spike, you know, in the popularity rating.
So you're saying the satisfaction decline is primarily because there isn't that euphoria after Operation Sindoor. It's not about economy. You agree with that, Raj? Or is there a sense that we are in very, very tricky economic times?
We are.
I mean,
Both
I'm
the
looking
things
at
are
the
true.
Business Today survey. The Business Today has done a survey, latest one. Economic confidence, business confidence is at its lowest for 11 quarters now.
And this is the paradox. Anybody else in any democratic thing, elected government, you would find that issues such as corruption, price rise, jobs, lack of jobs, would have brought a government down. Here you see this, despite the fact that the economy is not functioning as, say, our poll is showing, right? Maybe we are the fastest growing economy, but middling in terms of actual growth, and we need much, much more as a result. And yet, Prime Minister Modi and the BJP keeps coming back to power. There's something that is not clicking.
Is that the nationalism card, Maria? Is that the card that with the the Hindutva card nationalism?
Yeah, if you take a look at the failures of this, I think Mr. Modi would have liked his successes to be precisely that unemployment is being met, prices are down, as well as economic growth is there. Instead, we are showing that as his failures, and for someone who's in government right now, to have Ram Temple as his number one, because Mr. Modi was one of the few people that was able to do both nationalism, development and welfareism in a different package which got him this far. That's why I'm coming to this point that I think now there is crunch time happening. And one of the things that is we never look at, we always look at the success of Modi, but we don't look at the failures of the opposition. And there let us talk about the problems.
We'll come to the opposition in a few minutes from now. We'll come to the opposition in a few minutes. I'm just trying to understand whether nationalism sustains Modi. So irrespective of if there are economic challenges, even if there is stress in the economy, people say, lekin desh to hai. And that's been Mr. Modi's success. He's managed to control this narrative of nationalism almost totally for a decade and more.
It's about political will. That's what Mr. Modi
that
has
I'm
displayed.
taking tough decisions.
That I'm taking tough decisions. But Rajdeep, let's not forget that since its inception, the BJP believed in three core principles, three core ideas. Ram Temple achieved, abrogation of Article 370 done, only UCC is left. Now the question is, what will generate that hyper-nationalism? Will this, Operation Sindoor is done. Balakot is done. What will generate that kind of
euphoria? We will take on the United States. Watch out, United States.
It's not that we will take on.
Go ahead. It's not that we will take on.
He's already shown.
We are already taking on the United States. We are not buckling under his pressure.
But first you've got to get ease of doing business. First you've got to get your economic reforms in place.
Absolutely. Those reforms
it's too much
are required.
of it about narrative, Swadeshi
It is
2.0.
not
It's
just
not
about
changing
narrative.
on the ground.
Rajdeep,
MSMEs are hurting.
Rajdeep, if I may, the change that is happening is at a civilizational level, which a lot of us don't even understand.
If I lost my job, why do I care about civilizational level?
At a civilizational level, how many 800 crore people are being fed free food since COVID times.
That's hardly a recipe for building a
It is
stronger
not a recipe
India.
for building a
Where
strong
are the
India.
livelihoods?
But
Where
at
are the
least you're
jobs?
taking
Gaurav?
everyone.
You seem to suggest that
it's-
taking on America through rhetoric is
it is
enough
not
to
just
create.
rhetoric.
Where is the reality on the ground? The Atmanirbhar Bharat has to start working on the ground.
And that is
MSMEs
why-
are suffering. That's what the poll is also showing.
It is indeed showing that. It is indeed showing that. But are we, like many powerful countries who are reliant on America for their security? I don't want to name those countries, whether in Europe or in other parts of Asia that have American bases there. They have kowtowed. We are not kowtowing to America.
We are going to China and Russia to seek new allies. The same
they are
China
not
that you
seeking-
wanted TikTok banned a few years ago.
Absolutely. But then again, you are being nimble-footed in dealing with the situation.
It becomes nimble-footed
It
now
is
that
right
you reach
now
out to the
nimble-
same
it is-
Z. You said nothing to do with China, who
Are
a
we-
few months ago
you know,
was hand in glove with Pakistan. Look at how you are changing the narrative.
No, I'm not changing the narrative. I'm just stating facts on ground. Yes, China is a threat. Yes, China is. But that's also a ground reality that you have to deal with, right?
So
He's
this
your
is the
neighbor.
new narrative now,
There
that
is
we
no
are
narrative.
nimble-footed. We are now going to be hand in glove with China, the
No,
same
hold on,
China
hold on.
that you were
Hold on.
saying was our
That
main
the
enemy.
The global churn, it's a Chakravyuh. We're in the middle of that Chakravyuh and we're dealing with the situation. Whether you're an Abhimanyu or an Arjun, we'll only know later. And to the best of my understanding, the way you're nimble-footedly trying to deal with it, yes, we want great ties with America. It holds us in great stead. At the same time, we don't want inimical ties with China because we need to grow.
So you don't think our nationalist rhetoric, our nationalist narrative has taken any kind of a hit in recent times?
One, I don't think there is anything called hyper-nationalism. I think these are terminology coined by those who don't want us to grow as a strong economy and military. So to be a world power, the number 1, 2, 3 that we aspire to be, we have to be economically strong, we have to be militarily strong. It cannot be one or the other, it has to be both. Otherwise, remember, Bharat was sone ki chidiya always. You had invaders attacking you and looting that wealth.
Sure, but
so
beyond,
right now,
beyond the
if
rhetoric,
you are
I'm going
strong,
to our poll.
if you are strong
our poll is
economically
clearly
and
showing we are
militarily,
economically stressed, and therefore that's one major number coming out.
Yes.
But
No,
it's
no,
Rajdeep,
I
can
don't want to make it a Gaurav versus
But
Rajdeep
Rajdeep-
democratic
Quick
news.
point I just want to
Very
make.
quickly, sir.
Because
we've got to go to
we
the
were
opposition.
analyzing this paradox.
Yes.
And I think you must give credit to Mr. Modi in terms of the work that he does. There is a sincerity that comes through. He seems, I mean, look, it's 11 years, there's been no corruption charges pushed on him. He works very hard, and people are forgiving when they think that the person is put his shoulder to the wheel.
He's trying his best.
And he's decisive, he's a strong leader. As she had mentioned, he has gone and executed the kind of things, not only on
So
the
then the governance
nationalism
deficit
front.
doesn't matter, Mr.
But
Chengappa.
Rajdeep,
Are you saying the governance
No,
deficit
I'm
doesn't
saying,
matter?
I'm saying
sincerity.
that is why his
Ease of doing business is suffering. Ask any businessman.
No, that is why his numbers stay up. But that is why if you see in our in the magazine, while Prime Minister Modi holds firm, we are saying but. And those
small but.
those caveats are very important.